Welcome to the Cantina of Comics.
Today we're going to show you how to make White Wampas.
And we're going to be talking some bounty hunters. Hello and welcome to the Cantina of Comics. I'm Matt.
And I'm Kristi.
And what are we going to make today?
Today we're going to show you how to make White Wampas.
Now this is a drink that I guess you'd say would warm the cockles of your heart.
I guess that's what you would say.
So how do we make this?
All right, we have 2 ounces of vodka. Remember the EV99 from a few weeks ago?
I do remember. I'm still feeling the effects of the EV99.
Do you remember what we came up with the EV stands for?
Extra vodka.
That's right. So this one actually calls for 2 ounces of vodka.
Okay.
And I'm going to eye this.
And so we're putting it into a highball glass filled with ice already.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
We're using
2?
2 ounces.
That almost filled up the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man.
This is going to be a good night, honey.
There's going to be a party on Hoth tonight. Okay.
Did I say we're using whipped cream vodka?
Whipped cream vodka.
Because that's what we have on hand.
Cool whip.
We're trying to do that. Okay, and then we're going to use 1 ounce of Kahlua coffee liqueur.
Okay.
So.
And this is a pretty simple, I mean, this is just a 3-ingredient drink, right?
Yeah, super easy.
And it's pretty keto friendly from what I understand.
It is keto friendly.
Oh man.
You ready?
Okay.
I'm excited.
There's Kahlua.
I love Kahlua, anything with Kahlua in it.
And then the final ingredient
is whipping cream.
Whipping cream. Why do you say?
Actually, we're going to use that.
Say cool. Cool. Say whip. Whip.
Whip. Whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's do a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. And it's supposed to be 1 ounce of whipping cream, but we're eyeing
once again.
And then you stir it.
Some.
Right.
Then we just give it just a quick little stir.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about this. This is one of my favorite drinks.
Okay.
The White Wampa.
The White Wampa. So, you know, if you're there stranded on the 6th planet of the Hoth system where it's all snowy and everything, it's going to be pretty cold, so this might warm you up.
It might.
Keep you warm in these. Oh.
That's not too shabby.
That is pretty delicious, especially with the whipped cream vodka.
And the Kahlua.
And the Kahlua. So if you're standing on the surface of the 6th planet of the Hoth system, guess how cold it is there?
I'm going to say negative.
Yes.
300.
You are very close.
Was I?
According to space.com, the surface of Hoth is below zero, 364 degrees.
Really?
It is.
Interesting.
Do you know how what the internal temperature of a tauntaun is?
86.5.
Lukewarm.
Oh, you're so funny.
All right, so that is how you make a White Wampa, and we'll be back to talk some bounty hunters coming up next.
It's pretty tasty.
And welcome back to the Cantina of Comics. Got a question for you. How would you like a free audiobook from Audible? It is very easy to do. All you have to do is go to utini.com, click on the Audible logo, and you can get yourself a free month's membership, and that includes a free audiobook from Audible and Utini. Got a little secret for you too. How would you like to have 2 free audiobooks? Well, if you're an Amazon Prime member, your first free month includes not 1, but 2 audiobooks. Maybe you want to check out the new Thrawn Ascendancy by Timothy Zahn, or you can check out the Dr. Aphra audio drama. The choice is yours. Just go over to utini.com for all the information. Now it's time to talk about Bounty Hunters number 4. This issue was written by Ethan Sachs with pencils by Paolo Villanelli and colors by Arif Priyantu. So this issue picks up with Bounty Hunters Valence and Tionga. and they are hot on the trail of Nagano Lash. So if you remember, Nagano Lash was the bounty hunter who killed a client while on a mission that also included Boba Fett, Bossk, Valance, and Tianga's brother Tiangor. And Tianga blames Nagano Lash for the death of her brother. Now all the bounty hunters are on the trail of Nagano Lash now that Lash has resurfaced. And with this issue, we finally find out the reason that Nagano Lash killed their client on that mission. Nagano Lash threw the mission to save the pregnant woman who was the daughter of the head of one of the crime syndicates from the man who was threatening her, who happened to be the baby's father and the son of the head of the other crime syndicate. Nash ended up taking the woman, and then she ended up raising the baby as the mother died. And it turns out this child could actually unite the two crime families when she turns of age. Now, when this issue came out, there was cause for concern here. Spoiler alert, the last page of the comic has Boba Fett making his return to the series and indiscriminately blasting and killing Tonga. Now, to get some perspective, we talked to someone who could shed some light on why this is concerning.
Okay, joining me right now is Meg Dowell. Hello, Meg. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Now, Meg is a writer for Utini.com and also, I guess you'd say, one of the driving forces behind the newly launched Project Stardust. So how excited are you about that?
We've been planning this. We had been planning this since June, and I didn't say anything about it to anyone for like 2 months until we finally announced it was happening. So first of all, I'm really glad to be able to talk about it because I'm not very good at keeping secrets. And I think I told Corey about it like a couple weeks after we'd started, and he was the only one who knew. And I'm like, I'm glad you're good at keeping secrets because I'm really, really struggling right now to not say anything.
It's hard to keep it under your hat when it's something you're so passionate and excited about, isn't it?
It is. But we wanted to take our time and we wanted to make sure we were going to do it right. And we learned a lot as we were planning, which is why we wanted to give ourselves as much time as we needed to put a team together, make sure we had a team of diverse voices that we were going to be featuring, figuring out how we were going to get more contributors of different backgrounds in. And, there's a lot of like making sure that you're reaching the right people and you're saying the right things and you're using the right language. But we are here for women in the Star Wars fandom who just need a place to be able to say, I am here, I'm making things, I love Star Wars, and it's our time to shine. So.
Well, I know you're excited about this project and we are excited for you. So congratulations on the launch.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit serious. We're talking comic books, but we're talking something very serious that happened in one of the recent issues of one of the Marvel Star Wars comic books, and that's Bounty Hunter #4. Have you had a chance to read it? What were your first impressions in reading that issue?
So I hadn't been reading the series. And then the day that it came out, someone messaged me and they were like, hey, just so you know, there's going to be a lot of discourse around this comic that just came out. It's kind of problematic. Had no other context other than that. There were a few tweets out at that point in the morning, but very vague. Like I didn't know any specifics. So I was like, I'm going to have to be the journalist that I am and get all the facts before I join this discussion, whatever is going on. So
Sure.
I read it, and I read a lot of things. I edit a lot of people's words. So I've seen a lot of problematic storytelling. It's not very often that I feel uncomfortable when I'm reading something, especially something in Star Wars. And reading this comic issue, I was uncomfortable the entire time, and it just felt wrong. And it was really hard for me to like wrap my head around that. Like knowing that it was Star Wars, but it didn't feel like Star Wars because it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like this story was, it didn't feel like it was a story that needed to be told in the way that it was told. And it affected me so much that I had to walk away from my desk and go take a walk. That's also something that usually doesn't happen to me. I am a sit down and work for hours and don't leave my office kind of person. Right. So I really had to stop and like reflect. And the more I thought about it, the more upset that I became. So I took a lot of time to check in with people and make sure that people were okay, because there were a lot of women on Twitter, especially, who were not. There were a lot of women who were voicing their concerns and were not being listened to, and were being told that they were overreacting. And they were being told that, like, it doesn't matter, it's just a story. The ending is that the female character in the issue dies violently at the hands.
Shockingly.
Yes, that is a good word for reasons that will become apparent very soon.
Right.
By Boba Fett, who is a very well-known character in Star Wars. So the response to our reactions was, well, people die in Star Wars all the time. But it's a lot deeper than that. It was very clear to me when I got to the end of reading this that the point of the entire issue was to shockingly introduce Boba Fett at the end, and kind of say, like, hey, here's, your favorite bounty hunter. He's back. Don't know why it had to be that kind of shocking. If you're going to tell a story like that and you need that kind of shock value to keep people interested, and like, I understand, like, comics have cliffhangers. That's how they get you to go from one issue to the next and get you to wait the month or the week or however long it is. If you have to have that kind of cliffhanger that is so shocking that it becomes problematic, it's not a good story. It's not a well-written story. It didn't have anything, to gather from it other than this shocking thing that happens at the end. And there's also the issue of making the effort to introduce a diverse character. An LGBTQ woman of color is the main character in this comic issue, which is a big deal. Only to find out that she's just a plot device and only serves to introduce Boba Fett at the end, because he comes in and that's it. That was not okay with a lot of people, myself included. Appreciate the effort to, get that representation. But if you're just doing it to get your points and move on, you're not doing it right. These characters need to have a purpose. They need to, their audience needs to be able to relate to them. To just put them there for really no reason, and so violently, it was unnecessary. I have no problem with Boba Fett. He's awesome. I love bounty hunters. I really do. But if you were going to introduce him and kind of that is the surprise ending, there were so many different ways that you could have done that.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think, in your opinion, I'm a Boba Fett fan. You said you're a Boba Fett fan too. Do you think that this might be going counter to his personality or to his character?
Absolutely. I just don't think of Boba Fett as someone who would just walk into a room and shoot someone, just because. He's on a mission. He's got problems with people, but I understand that you're trying to go for, like, Boba Fett is this powerful, brutal bounty hunter that we all know and love. That's taking it too far, though. I think, especially in the Clone Wars, when we get so much of his backstory of his moral dilemmas and him being so angry and grieving so much, and kind of his arcs in that, that definitely changed the way that I saw him. And so seeing him in this comic this way, just
it almost seems like a betrayal of character.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it felt to me. I was kind of surprised that they would do that, not in a good way though. So
right. Do you think this might be on the I guess you'd say the pencil of Ethan Sachs, who wrote this series, lazy story writing?
That is exactly what I've been thinking about for the past long time. Lazy storytelling is you just have one goal and you're just going to get there however you get there. And usually we talk a lot in the industry I work for when you're doing media headlines. We do a lot of training for writers about making your headlines interesting but not shocking, to the point where you're misleading anyone, or the only point of your story is to have a shocking headline.
Definitely. Now, we know from Star Wars writers that have been interviewed on Utini, it's kind of hard to play in somebody else's sandbox because you have the established characters, you have the main characters that you can't really, kill off because Lucasfilm kind of frowns on that unless they approve it. But if you are a writer and you bring in new characters, what do you say to the argument that, well, if a writer brings in a brand new character, that character they can do anything that they want to with? Be a kill off in the last page in a very shocking panel.
I mean, as a writer, you can do anything you want with the character that you create. But you also have to keep your audience in mind. I don't know what the thought was in, this shocking ending, other than we're just gonna, surprise everyone. And there's no thought put into, well, here's this underrepresented character. How are people going to feel about that character not getting much character development and then just meeting a violent end? There needs to be a consideration of how people are going to feel about that. You need to consider your audience from all sides. We say that Star Wars is for everyone. Not every Star Wars story is going to be everyone's favorite. But you do need to write Star Wars thinking about how certain events in your stories are going to affect people. And that kind of violence, hurt a lot of people. It really...
and kind of pushes them away, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people who are saying they're not going to read the series anymore. Or if they haven't started, they're not going to pick it up. People can take that as far as they want to. They can say, I'm not going to read anything from this writer. I'm not going to, I'm going to be very selective about my Star Wars comics that I read. And in a way, that's kind of one thing that we can do to kind of let Marvel, Star Wars, whoever's in charge of whatever project is going on, this is not what we want. We're not going to pay for this. We're not going to consume this content if it's just going to be offensive or unsettling or, whatever it is. So.
Very cool. Well, once again, thank you so much for your insight and opinion on this.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate you reaching out.
All right, now let's go ahead and turn to Dr. Aphra, Volume 2, Issue number 3. This one is Fortune and Fate, Part 3, Turnabout. This one's written by Alyssa Wong with pencils by Marika Cresta and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. So we find our group of fortune and glory hunters on the planet Dianth, searching for the fabled Rings of Vale. One ring supposedly grants immortality, the other untold riches. The group of Aphra, the Wookiee Black Karanstan, Professor Eustacia Oka, Data Yad, Just Lucky, and TA-418, they've been separated when the floor gave out just as Ronan's group of thugs found them. Everyone is okay, but now the group is split into two. Both are searching for the rings. So one group, consisting of Oka, Lucky, and Black K, make their way to the final resting place of the rings, while Aphra, Yad, and the goons find their way to the workshop where the rings were created. Now, here's some observations about issue number 3. Obviously, we've heard before, there's been a lot of comparisons, Indiana Jones to Dr. Aphra, and the final few pages of this issue kind of plays out like what happened at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. There's also a nice glimpse of Canto Bight as Ronan Tag of the infamous Tag family is throwing a spectacular party. We didn't get to see any fathiers though, so I guess they didn't get to ruin the party. We'd love to hear what you have to say about Dr. Aphra number 3 and Bounty Hunters number 4. You can head over to the Utini Discord server and just search for EU Comics.
Doing them drugs, them adrenal drugs. Oh. Oh, that was a much better dad.
All right, so we show you how to make the White Wampa, and this is warming me up, definitely.
I can feel it. It's good.
You feel the effects pretty quick. Hey, if you want to check out all the videos that we have here on Utini, you can head over to the Utini YouTube page. You're going to get reviews by Nathan and Emma and Jake, and you're going to get more Cantina comic recipes too.
Yeah.
So tell us, when you make the White Wampa, tell us what you think, you know, if you can type straight after drinking this. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Cantina of Comics.